We have Micheál Martin and the Garda Commissioner coming out today saying there's people now in the state that are extremists and trying to undermine the state. And what I say first of all is that the state itself is the extremists. These people that are in government are the extremists. Because we see, and I see it every day of the week, so many young Irish people doing their best, working hard, going to pay the bills, trying to provide for the family, trying to get a place to live, trying to just get the basic things, nothing fancy, nothing elaborate, just the basic stuff. And at every opportunity, they're working hard, working long hours, and when they go trying to get somewhere in life, the door shuts behind them. And you wonder why people become extremists. And we see so much in society, in Irish society, so many people begging for the government to listen. For years, even me, take for example, on immigration and other stuff, begging them to listen, begging them to just sit down and just listen for a second, instead of just shouting people down as far-right extremists. When we have that in society, regardless even if you're calling people far-right, far-left, whatever, when you have that domination in society, that causes division, that causes distress, that causes rupture in society. It causes a fracture in society, and people feel disenfranchised, and that's what we're seeing. And the people to blame for this is the media and the government, particularly the government, because the government and the media are one and the same, to be totally honest. If we had an independent media, the government wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. But this is what's happened, and it's all the government's fault. It really, really is. There's nothing to be said, because the government have time and time again have shown the colours many times. They've given all our money away to Brussels instead of putting towards the benefit of the Irish people. They have so much money they don't know what to do with it, but they don't put it to the use of the Irish people. And I'm concerned about extremism. I've seen what's happening online, etc. I've seen people being hurt and stuff by these actions and stuff, and a lot of people feel very angry, and I get that. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't get it, because the government doesn't seem to get it, that people are very, very frustrated. Every Irish citizen is very, very frustrated, because nothing has changed. There's so many young people. If we go up to Dublin Airport now tomorrow morning, and we look at the planes going to Australia, to New Zealand, to Canada, of young Irish people have the whole life ahead of them. They'll tread these. They could do great things for this country if they just had the basic stuff. They're not asking for luxury. They're not asking for 5-star hotels. They're looking for just a basic house that they can raise a family, that can live in, that it's affordable, even the rent. If they had something that's just affordable, that's not €1,000,000 a year to fucking rent out. It's absolutely ludicrous. We see in some places in Cavan €2,000 a month for a small bungalow. They're looking for €2,000 a month. How could any family who's trying to raise a son or raise a daughter, or trying to put them through school, or God forbid college or anything, how could you do it? How could you? If you had an only basic job, a 9 to 5. Nobody could do it. These politicians could do it, but the only working class Irish man and Irish woman simply could not do it. Simple as that. I might as well be honest with you, regardless of what way you look at it, because society, unfortunately, is out to get you. And society and this government are out to get Paddy and out to get Mary. And that's what's happened. And it's a sad thing to have to say. And the thing is too, why we see extremism in this country and what they would call extremism, because people don't trust the system. And I'm one of those. I don't trust these politicians. I don't trust them. I used to be naive, thinking that some politicians had the best interest of the state. But I simply cannot sit here and say that Micheál Martin has the best interest of this country with a backwards looking at your sovereignty, as he keeps saying. I simply cannot say that. The same with Simon Howe, same with nearly all of them and all out, apart from maybe 1 or 2 exceptions. I simply could not sit here and tell you that I trust these people. I couldn't trust them with 1 cent, let alone a country. But the people of Ireland have been shebanged into thinking these people have all the answers and these people are the saviours. They're not. And that's as simple as that. But it's a sad thing to see that we have come to this level as a country, because it should never have got here in the first place. It should never have come to this point. It should have been dealt with long ago, particularly in terms of immigration. Immigration is a huge factor in this country. And it's taken a lot of resources away from housing, from healthcare, etc., and from schooling. And you could call it far right, you could call it whatever, but it is simply just the truth, because the systems in this country, since the country went bust in 2008, they've never been fully operational since then. And when you put more people into a situation that's already stretched, you're going to have overstretchment. And not even that, social welfare, etc., etc. And then obviously in healthcare, and then that adds into the problems in health and education, the lack of investment, etc. That adds into that. So immigration too has a part in it too. And a lot of people have been saying this time and time again, and not even that, just the sheer cost of looking after all these people is insane. No country nearly could afford it if we keep doing it, especially because it keeps going up and up and up and up. And of course Ireland has done its bit, and I do think, and I'm of the opinion that we have done our bit, particularly for Ukrainians and stuff, not so much for anybody else. We shouldn't really have anybody else apart from Ukrainians in here at the moment. But we have done our bit. We have done as much as we could for people. And I think we can do no more. We have to look after ourselves, and that's just a simple fact. Because there's no point looking after everybody else when your own people are suffering, and that's just a simple fact. But as the Garda Commissioner said today, a lot of people, it's organised, etc., etc. That's because people are getting together, and people are very, very upset. And people feel, and particularly when you have so many people that feel upset, they get into groups, etc., etc., and they talk about things. And it's a good thing, of course, in democracy for people to have a discussion than people say on their own, you're talking about it, etc., etc. But we have to start addressing people's problems, because what's happening here in the media we see here, you take me, Haman said, we have to try and understand why people are very, very upset, because they know rightly, they know a lot of the problems, but they won't address it. They're trying to skim around us to say, oh, they're just extremists, we're going to just ignore them. It's not good. It's not good enough. But we have to try and address it as a society. Why so many people? Because again, their definition of extremism, anybody that questions the state at all, that seems to be their definition in the book. What they think. But I feel very resentful against this state, to be totally honest, at the moment. Not just I'm not expecting free stuff. I never wanted free stuff from the government or anything. Never asked for it. But I feel very resentful that my fellow young person, fellow Irish citizen, that's doing the best, and I see so many of them. They're trying the best to have a young girlfriend. They want to have children, and they can't, and they're trying to get someone. They're trying to move out of their parents' house. They're trying their best, and the state hits them down and knocks them down every turn, every twist. Just they can't get their foot in the door, and I think it's a sin. It is a sin, and that's the word to describe it. That we live in a country that it's become this, and unfortunately, it's not getting any better, and that's just a sad reality. But we have to understand why people are very upset. And of course there's other kinds of extremists from outside the state, of course. But they're more talking about internally in the state and stuff. It is concerning, and I say to people who are very, very annoyed and upset with the current situation that's government, they always be peaceful. Because violence solves nothing. At the end of the day, hurting somebody, attacking somebody, etc., it solves nothing. It achieves nothing for nobody. It only causes more pain and suffering, and particularly as a Catholic and stuff. Nobody should believe in that violence solves anything. It doesn't. It causes more pain and suffering, and by God, in life too, as we speak now, there's so many people homeless in this country. There's so many people in difficulty, and there's no point adding to people suffering and to people's. It's just, it shouldn't happen. But anyway, let me know what you take. What do you take? Let me know. Thank you.